Joining us now to weigh in, he's the founder and president of the Article 3 Project, Mike Davis, back on the program. Mike, so the judge didn't like what Mr. Trump had to say yesterday about him and Letitia James, and so did I hear right? Did the judge issue a gag order now? Mr. Trump cannot talk about this case in public?
Well, the judge issued a limited gag order that Trump cannot criticize the court staff while this case is ongoing. I'm not sure that that's constitutional. The Sixth Amendment protects a defendant's right to a fair, public, and speedy trial. This is a civil trial, but it's a civil fraud case. There's also the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects Americans' right to speak out, and particularly that you would think would mean someone who's the subject of a state civil fraud lawsuit. That if that defendant can't speak out about the judge's staff who may have biases, the prosecutor who's prosecuting this civil fraud case, we're in a pretty scary place of defendants in our criminal and civil justice system can't speak out.
So a limited gag order. Dear Mr. President, don't talk trash on anybody that works for the court. That's pretty much what this judge said?
Pretty much, but who knows? I think it was an oral order, and so who knows? It may have a chilling effect on President Trump and his ability to speak out about this whack job Democrat judge who's clearly biased, this lifelong Democrat donor who's grinning for the cameras. He's a total whack job. Can President Trump speak out against him, or is President Trump forbidden under this whack job judge's order?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you something. Yesterday was day one of the trial, and as the cameras set up and started rolling before the president walked in, this happened. Ready? Watch this. Oh, hi, you're there. Let me take my glasses off and smile for you. Oh, hey, no big whoop. Yeah, we're just trying to prosecute a guy for alleged crimes that I'm sure he's guilty of before I even see the evidence. Have you ever, Mike, in all your years, seen a judge when cameras are allowed in a courtroom, because there's been plenty of them, where they mug for the camera like that, cheesing it up? I mean, usually when there's cameras in the courtroom, judges are reminding them to keep order, be quiet, keep the cameras out of faces, stay over in your little booth because there's a certain area the press must stay in. Obviously, that was before the proceedings began, and the camera guy is moving around, and the judge seems just fine with it, literally mugging for the camera. I've never seen this.
I can't figure out if this is a Seinfeld episode or a Veep episode, but this Democrat judge is a total clown, and he's not even hiding the fact that this New York Attorney General Tish James and this clown Democrat judge are trying to railroad President Trump here. This judge, without the trial even beginning, no evidence, no witnesses or other evidence, no cross-examination, let alone a jury, this judge just found that Trump somehow committed fraud before the trial. I mean, this shows you that this is a circus up in New York, and this is the ringleader of the circus, this Judge Arthur Engelwald, or whatever the hell his name is.
I don't know. It's scaring the hell out of me looking at images of him. Anywho, yeah, I have a real issue with that clip we played at the beginning. And that interview, I don't know if that was, I think he was speaking, I don't know if it was to a classroom or to lawyers, but he was up in front of a room of people, and he was speaking about how he, that's the correct word, right, adjudicates from the bench. He was discussing it. And you heard him in that soundbite, Mike, say, well, a lot of times, first he says, sometimes. And he says, no, a lot of times juries get it wrong. And so, I have the power to step in and get it right. And sometimes, if the cases are, not all the cases are identical, because what if the person was wearing a black sweater versus a red sweater? And that's the analogy he used. So sometimes juries get it wrong, and I got to step in and make it right. Is that what judges are supposed to do?
No, the judge is supposed to be the neutral umpire and call balls and strikes. The judge is supposed to make sure that the criminal defendants and the civil defendants have a fair process from government overreach, from out-of-control prosecutors and attorneys general, like we're seeing with this Tish James. This judge is proving that he's an activist judge. He's a Democrat activist judge who's going out of his way to throw this case against President Trump, and he's already proven that. He held that Trump somehow committed fraud before the trial even began. And let's just look at Tish James's bogus theory. How the hell Is it fraud for a businessman to pay back sophisticated Wall Street banks in full with interest on time per the contract? Who was defrauded?
That's what I wanted to ask you. Where's the victim, Mike? Where is the victim in a fraud case?
That's the problem. If the banks were defrauded, why aren't they in court right now alleging fraud? And the answer is they weren't defrauded. They got the benefit of their bargain. They got paid back in full.
Yeah, we know how this is going to go. This is going to take 2 weeks to a month. Letitia and her side's going to call a bunch of people. They're going to make up a bunch of bullshit. You know it. And then at the end, a corrupt, crooked judge is going to say, because there's no jury in this one, folks, the judge is going to say guilty. And then Trump will have to appeal. It'll take another year, a couple years. And if you get to a courtroom where there might be an actual jury or a fair judge, it will get overturned and thrown out because there's no evidence to support it. And like you just said, the evidence they're claiming is a crock. Like the Mar-a-Lago and other buildings are only worth a couple mil here, 18 mil there. Come on. I mean, their statements are the true fraud, Mike. Mike Davis, Article 3 Project. As always, we appreciate you coming on the program.
Thank you.
Take care.